Hi and welcome to another episode of DKW, a programme in which we tackle the most pressing issues affecting women today. On today's show, we're talking Work It Women. No, it's not what you might think. We're actually discussing women in the workplace, equal pay and how to juggle work and life. Let's take a look at what's coming up. Next, we're going to find out what the people think with Jennifer Long on the streets of London. At 4:25, we're going to hear from Angelina Jolie about her film Defret. At 4:35, we're going to hear from Tara Howard about the Venus Awards, encouraging the female entrepreneurs of tomorrow. Obviously, I'm not discussing this issue alone. I have with me the courageous Kim.
Hi.
The personable Patricia. And the sensational Samantha.
Lovely to be here again.
Welcome,
Wonderful.
ladies.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
So, tell me, why do you think it is that women are paid less than men for doing the same job? What do you think?
I think sometimes it's about how determined you can be to fight for what you believe to be right. And I do feel that sometimes in the workplace there is a bit of a boys' club. That unless you are part of this boys' club, you don't know what's going on.
Boys' club. Do you want to emphasise on that a bit more?
Well, with the boys' clubs, you know, the men, they speak the same language, you know, the pats on the back, the drinks down the pub, you know, don't worry, I'll look after you if you look after me. And sometimes, you know, women are not in that club. You know, we're after, sometimes when the job's finished at the end of the day, we've got other better things to do. So we're going home and doing other things, where sometimes the boys, they take that bit of time to, you know, do that kind of bonding to kind of help each other out sometimes.
Right, so you think that sometimes it can be a case of who you know, like the connections. Okay. Pat, Sam?
Well, I think that I think in somewhat women are still undervalued. I think, but we haven't reached that point where we're actually equal really with men, else we would be getting the same wage. So I just think that it's still at that point where we're still seen as like just the helpers of men. And I think that needs to change.
Would you agree with that?
I agree, because I think in the past women didn't go to work. They were staying at home moms, housewives, and then we started going to work just like men do, but it's kind of, we're still trying to prove ourselves.
Still trying to catch up.
So we can still do as good as they do and be as good as they are. Meanwhile,
Interesting
you have
points.
to accept.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, we're going to have a bit of a game.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to show some images on the plasma, and we need to decide whether a man or a woman achieved these particular things. Okay. So, are we ready?
Right, we're ready.
Okay. So, for the first one, joined Egypt with the Roman Empire. Was that a man or a woman, do you think?
Oh, I would have thought
I'm going to go
a
for
man.
No, a woman.
Man.
And you say man? So we say, Sam says man, Pat says man, and
woman.
Kim says a woman. A woman joined Egypt with the Roman Empire. Okay, and the answer was, Kim, you're actually right, it's Cleopatra.
I knew a woman could do that.
Well done, Kim. Well done.
Okay, the next one, invented the first easy-to-use computer languages. Man or woman, what do you think?
Languages.
Easy to use. To use. It's got to be a woman.
Got to
Easy
be a woman.
to use. Got to be a woman.
Woman, so we've got two for a woman.
I said man, languages.
Okay.
Languages. Yeah.
Okay, so Kim says man, so we've got two women, one man. Let's see. It's a woman. Women are doing pretty well at the moment, I have to say.
All the answers going to be women.
Well, let's see.
Us women, we just make everything easy. Men are the ones that complicate things.
Okay, the next one, invented the light bulb.
Oh, I think I know that one. I think that one is a man.
I think that one is a man,
It is a
isn't it?
man, yeah. We know that's a man.
I think we can safely say that that was a man. It was Thomas Edison. Okay, and the next one, invented the automobile. What do we think about this, ladies?
I think that's a man.
A man.
I would have said a man, really.
I don't think women drove back then.
I don't think that's it's true. Good point.
I see a woman under the bonnet of a car back in those days.
Yeah.
I know, I would say man.
Okay, let's see. Who invented the automobile?
Yeah.
It's a man. Well done.
We knew that one.
Yeah. Next one. Developed the first X-ray machine.
I would say a man as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oops.
I'm wrong.
Oops, it's a woman. Oops, it's a woman.
Mercury, that's a woman, yeah.
Wow.
Okay, and the last one, discovered penicillin and insulin. Who do we think did that?
Ooh. I'm going to say a woman.
Woman, Pat, what do
I'd
you
say a
think?
man. To
A
make it
man,
even.
Kim?
Yeah, a woman did that.
A woman. Okay, let's see.
It's a woman.
So we've got women in quite a few, important roles there in history.
Good.
Well, we're going to take a short break now, but before we do, let's take a look at what Jennifer Lon has found from the streets of London and what they think.
Why do you think women are paid less than men for the same roles?
Well, that's an historical discrimination. That's
I think it's a historical process, so legislation came up to date, but it still takes a while until the rest of things come up to date.
It's got to do with outdated values, people that don't understand humanity, and just, we're human, aren't we, and to decide what sex is better than the other is a stupidity. It's prehistoric, isn't it, and it's the form. It's the form of a lot of bigots and a lot of people that don't want to change anything, because if they do change something, it upsets their clubs, their way of life, so.
Maybe, I don't know, I think they need to ask more for it, but it's not an excuse, but I definitely think that's probably something they don't ask for as much.
I mean, it all starts from the ancient years when people thought that women had to be at home and somehow they do something less than men. But that's not true. So because they do both. They are both at home and both working.
Do you think some jobs are more gender specific?
I don't think they are. I just think that, it's funny, I was watching about the suffragettes and how many years last night on TV, how many years they spent to get this justice, but it's not justice. It shouldn't even be a law. It should be a right.
Some jobs need more physical strength, but some women have more physical strength, so no. Each one can do whatever he likes.
I think that the requirements of some jobs mean that sometimes there are biological reasons that there may be, it may be beneficial to have a man or a woman doing that job potentially, yeah. But I also think that societally there are some things as well that people view whereby it may be better that a man or a woman does a certain job as well.
If you're a single mother suffering from a troubled past, then don't lose hope. There's always someone you can turn to. We understand. With all the challenges of everyday life, the financial responsibility, and the pressure of being a single parent, life can be overwhelming at times. Single parents and their children can flourish, but without the right support, a family can fall apart. The Tamar Group is there for lone parents who need guidance, support and encouragement to get them through their everyday battles. Whether it's a group discussion, a mother and child bonding session, or some personal advice, we are here for you. Everyone needs a helping hand at one point or another. Let us be yours. For more information on our meetings and where the nearest Tamar group is to you, then visit our website uckg.org/Tamar or give us a call on 020 7686 6000.
Welcome back, and on today's show we're discussing why in this day and age women still earn less than men for doing the same job. Now in the UK, women currently earn on average £2.53 less per hour than men do. That equates to 80 pence for every pound a man is paid. Now this contributes not only to the poverty of women but also to their children, so it's certainly something that needs to be addressed. The news comes as it was revealed last week that the UK has fallen out of the top 20 countries globally for gender equality. That's shocking, isn't it, ladies?
Yes. It is indeed.
I know.
Terrible.
Well, I think we've got time for a quick green and red card game.
Fantastic.
Our favourite game here on DKW.
Yes.
So we know how it works. Green for yes and red for no.
Right.
Okay?
We got it.
Okay, we ready?
Yes.
Okay, ladies, I'm going to ask you, do you think that some jobs are better suited to a particular gender?
Definite.
Okay, well, we've got Kim saying no. So I'd like to start with you, Kim. Why do you say no?
I said no because I think before it was very stereotyped jobs. Nurses were female, doctors were male. But I don't think that's the case anymore because I think now as long as a person can do a job well, that they can do any job.
Mm-hmm. So would you agree with that, ladies? Well, obviously not, because you've said...
No, it's not that I don't agree with her. I just think in some jobs, for a woman, it's maybe safer for a man to do it. In terms of men's strength, it's clear that men's strength are different from a woman. Of course, you've got strong women. Like, for example, in the construction field, some of the work is really strenuous. They need some really strong men. And it's not to say, I'm not against women doing construction work, not at all.
But it's quite rare to find, isn't it?
If that woman feels that they have the strength and they want to do that type of work, so it be. And I do agree with equal jobs to the person's preference. But I believe that there are some jobs that are suited for men.
Okay, and Pat?
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't mean that women cannot do the same job, but I think it's more suitable for men, just like she used the example of the construction, even driving. We have women that are drivers, but I think because of the long hours, night shifts and things like that, I think it's more suitable.
So you're talking about like those big lorry drivers and things like that, or just nighttime?
Even taxi drivers.
Taxi drivers, yeah. Okay.
Even safety, even.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think things are changing these days. I think that's how it was in the past, that we always thought that these were men's jobs and these were women's jobs. And until some women broke those barriers, things would never have changed. And because women do break those barriers, now we can do whatever job that's out there.
And we agree with you, Kim. It's not that we don't agree with you.
But I think Pat did make a good point. So, for example, with the taxi drivers, those late night taxi drivers, do you not think that women are more vulnerable in jobs like that?
No, do you know why I don't agree with that? Because there's certain taxi firms that make a great deal of money because their women are only drivers.
They've actually
and there's certain faves that will only go in taxis that are only for women. So I think they've got that market cornered.
There's actually a female taxi firm now.
Oh, wow.
So there you go.
Okay, next question. Do you change your actions, in the presence of men?
Yes.
Well, let's see your green or red cards. Do you change your actions in the presence of men? Right, so we've all said yes.
Look at that.
I would like a little bit of elaboration on this. So tell me, Pat, why did you say yes?
Okay, we're talking about a work environment, right? And I think when a man and a woman work together, they need to know where to draw a line. And there are certain things that maybe I would do if my colleague was a female as well. We would, I don't know, maybe hug each other, kiss each other, and sit next to each other all the time. But if it's a man, you need to have boundaries. You need to know where do you draw the line.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're all going with
I think we can all safely agree with that, because a man is likely to get the wrong idea.
Impression, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. That's a fairly simple one. Okay, next. Have you ever noticed someone act differently from how women are supposed to act?
So you're trying to say that, have we noticed that a woman acts differently than how women
are supposed to act?
I mean, yes. Yeah, I've seen it. I have.
It's quite a tricky question, isn't it?
It's a bizarre question, isn't it?
Yeah. But take from it what you understand.
I think, are you trying to say that sometimes that we see women acting blokey and...
It could be. It
could
be.
Yeah, I think there's going to be different answers to this question depending on how you take the question. But
okay, well, I'll go with Sam because she's got a set answer. So.
Well, I mean, it says, have you seen? And I have. I've seen women behave. Different type of women are different, and women are individuals. Now, you will find women that are, when men are around, they get excited, they get more flirtatious, they get more talkative. But then you're going to see women that as soon as men come around them, they become more reserved. You know, they tend to protect themselves more. And I think some of this could result to maybe women's different experiences. You know, you could have a woman that has grown up with a load of brothers. You know, they've had a lot of men company around them and, you know, they're comfortable around men. But you may have a woman that they may have been interfered with by a man, or they may have been abused or hurt. It could be for different reasons why a woman acts different. And in the work environment, it can show a different reaction. So that's how I'm seeing it.
Okay. Anything else to add, ladies? Right, I'll take that as a no, shall I? Okay, right, next question. Do you think women's competencies are undervalued?
Yeah.
Pat, the undecided?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well, I think I'll go for a yes.
Okay.
Because it's the whole point, right? We're discussing it today because
that's right.
It's a yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
So, well, let me hear from you, Kim. What would you say?
I think, sometimes we are undervalued. And I think sometimes that when it comes into the workplace, I think sometimes women definitely people sometimes stereotype women. You can look at a certain woman, for example, if you all know that film Legally Blonde.
Yes.
Now, if you saw a woman like that walk into the workplace, you're never going to think she's a chief executive, even though she may have the brains for it. So sometimes when a man looks, well, not men, but in general, we women, we are so guilty of the same nonsense. You look at a woman and because she looks a certain way, you obviously think she hasn't got a brain in her.
What do you think that the root of that is? Why does that happen?
I think women as well as men, we do stereotype our own selves. We do it ourselves. Sometimes we even judge each other by the way we look, and I think that's just a society thing. You look at a woman in if a woman comes dressed or behaves in a certain way, she's automatically judged. Like for example, if you're going into a meeting and the woman's, let's say her skirt's a bit short, obviously people are going to think, okay, she's promiscuous or you can't take her seriously. So I think sometimes we judge by our eyes before we listen to what the person has to say. So I think that.
But do you think that women also might bring that on themselves? I'm saying this because actually, as you mentioned, the whole short skirt thing, I watched a program a little while ago. It's a program about business, and I love this program. And it was a competition, and actually the start of the competition was between men and women. And one of the female team leader at the time had said to her colleagues, look, we're going out to try and get business, to try and get clients. Let's roll up your skirts.
Oh my days!
Put on your makeup. Let's use everything that we can to our advantage. And so, do you think maybe women might bring that on themselves a bit? those kind of stereotypes?
I do believe we do it a lot ourselves. We think that, okay, the only way we're going to get a man to pay us any attention and to bow to our will is if we behave flirtatiously. But sometimes we can engage our brain and we can, sometimes you might not get the same result, but I believe if we learn to engage our brains, we can get better results. And I think sometimes when you look at women who are very smart or, you know, or in high positions, they always do look a certain way. But I think things are changing a little bit because women are, you know, caring about the way they look and they're not falling for those kind of stereotypes anymore.
Yes, yeah. I think a lot of women are proving that there can be the beauty and the brain together.
That's right.
I would like to think that we are examples of that.
Exactly that.
Okay, next question. Is it an impossible struggle to have a great career and strong family life? What do you think? Is it an impossible struggle? I saw Pat's face when she put her. Pat,
did she struggle with that then?
I wouldn't say it's impossible because I'm a great believer that all things are possible, but it is a struggle because you need to be able to balance both things. And if you go to extreme of my career, my business, my this, my that, of course you're gonna
jeopardize or
compromise your family time, your relationship, your marriage. But I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I agree that it's a struggle, definitely.
I mean, I disagree in terms of I don't think it's a struggle and I don't think it's impossible at all because there could be, for example, I think it's the quality of life that you portray for yourself and for your family. And I think even if you're a working parent and you have the balance and you find quality time to spend with your family, you live the quality of your life with your family to a standard. You spend quality time with your children, you go movies, you spend time with them, separate from work. I think then you can really have, it doesn't have to be a struggle. I think it's a struggle if you know, if it's weighed over you too much work and then you miss out on your quality time with your family, or on the other way, if you're a worker, too much time with the family and then struggle with your work. So I think there is a balance that needs to be in place.
What would you say, Kim?
I don't know, just listening to her talk makes it sound like a struggle. It makes me feel tired.
Sorry about that, Kim. It's not a struggle.
Just made me sound, it just sounded like, it just sounded tiring. And that's why I do think it is a struggle. It is a struggle trying to be that great mother, house immaculate, great at work, stunning looker. You know, you do your paces at the gym. I think it is a struggle. And just when you just say it out loud, it's tiring.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I haven't voted for anything, but I have to agree and I have to say yes on this one because I think women have so much to do. And I have to say, I think women in life in general have a lot more to do, a lot more roles and responsibilities than men tend to. That's just generally what I think. And I think that it can be a struggle, and that's why whenever we see a woman who does appear to have that balance, we admire, we're so impressed because it can be, especially if you do have children, you've got a family, and you've got this career, and if you want to have that great career, you do have to put in the extra work, you have to put in the hard work,
the sacrifices,
and that can be hard to juggle everything. Okay, well,
but just not impossible.
No, it's not impossible. But it's a difficult one, but not impossible. It's true. Okay, is a housewife undervalued in today's society? What do you think?
I'd say yes. I would say yes. Oh, we're using cards. Yes, as in green cards. Green cards. Ladies, your vote?
Okay, just quickly, who can tell me why they say yes?
Quickly. I think so, because I think that if you're a housewife and you're at home and things like that, I think people tend to think that housewives are not educated, or they haven't made the achievement of somebody who maybe, worked their way up, doing education, earning degrees and everything else. And a lot of people tend to think that housewives, they don't have education. They're just at home, taking care of home and kids. And I think in that sense, they are undervalued.
Okay, anything to add, ladies, quickly, before we go to a break?
At first I said no, then yes, because I think there's this saying that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent.
That's true.
And I agree with what Sam said. On the outside, when people look at them, they might think, yeah, she's not educated, she doesn't have a job, she doesn't do anything, she just sits home, takes the kids to school and picks them up at the end of the day. But if they are happy doing what they are doing, and if they feel fine within themselves that this is what I want in life, I'm happy that my house is all organized, my kids are well taken care of, my husband is taken care of, and my family is built together, I think that no one should make them feel inferior because of that.
Oh, thank you.
And actually, a lot of housewives actually study from home and earn degrees.
Have
and
their own business.
They've got their own business. I must, put that in place because it's happening.
Yes, indeed.
So they shouldn't be undervalued.
Right, ladies, we're going to have to go to a break now. But before we do, location reporter Leanna Lambert went to the Diffret screening to find out what this film is all about regarding equality in Ethiopia.
It is a great honor to introduce to you the remarkable film, Diffret. When I first saw this film, I was moved to tears by the story that they managed to show. The sad and the hopeful, the old and the new, the harmful tradition of Telifa, and the possibility that culture can change.
I feel that the film basically is trying to address gender roles in the country. It's getting you to open your eyes to see that women, in particular in Ethiopia, are not being treated and respected as human beings.
እኔም በልጅነቴ አንቺን መንደር በሚመስል መንደር ውስጥ ነው ያደግኩት። 5 ወንድሞች አሉ። ሴት እኔ ብቻ ነኝ። እናቴ ከወንድሞቼ እኩል እንዳድግ ነው ያደረገችው። ከነሱ እኩል ነው ቀን በቀን ትምህርት ቤት ሄድኩት።
You have a social worker in the film, a woman who has been educated, and in Ethiopia, this once was looked down upon, women being educated. She challenges these traditions by trying to save a young girl. She basically tries to get her out of jail and take her under her wing, so that way she could save this young girl's life. I feel like after seeing the film, my eyes have been opened to a whole different part of the world where women are not being treated as humans. They're not being respected, and they're not being seen as a human being. I feel like the Diffret film is a message that needs to be spread around the entire world.
Films like these are so important to continue to support and to make, as they help us all to push the art of filmmaking forward and shed light on untold stories about Ethiopia and beyond.
Welcome back, and in the studio we have Tara Howard, who is the founder of the Venus Awards, which recognises and awards the achievements of women in business. Hi Tara.
Hi Melissa,
Lovely
thanks
to
for having
meet
me.
you. Oh, thank you for coming. Well, I'd like to jump in and ask you straight off, how did you come up with the idea of the Venus Awards?
Oh goodness me. Well, I was nominated for Entrepreneur of the Year and I didn't think I was good enough. I was a mother of 4. I had a hotel that I'd taken from 2 weddings a year to 100, done similar with the turnover, but I didn't think I was good enough. I thought, there's these businessmen and they can focus on their business, and I just felt guilty at home because I wasn't spending time with the work, felt guilty at work, not spending time at home. But I put it in because I used to be a pilot and I've got some property, and when it was written up it looked pretty good. I got through to the semi-finals and I got a call from Bournemouth University and they said, we think you've done some great stuff. They sent us a letter and they said, you've done some great stuff as far as women are concerned, but you haven't made it through to the finals. And I could have gone, how dare they, as far as women are concerned. But I didn't. I thought, they are right. What is there out there for women locally? And there wasn't anything. I made a phone call, there wasn't anything, so I made another phone call that day to the Bournemouth Echo and I said, I'm going to start an awards for women, are you in? And that was in the October and the first awards was in the May, and it just hasn't stopped since. The amount of excitement and interest, and I just can't tell you, it's just amazing. It's changing people's lives.
Oh, fantastic. So can I just ask you, who was it that nominated you for Entrepreneur of the Year originally?
It was actually the Dorset Chamber that actually suggested I go into it. So I just thought they must be desperate.
Oh, not at all. Don't believe that for 1 minute.
Okay. Yeah. Give me a tip. How do you lead a winning team?
Oh, Kim. Well, I think the way to lead a winning team is basically walk the talk to start off with. Don't ask them to do things you wouldn't do yourself. When I used to run a hotel, we had this thing that was just full of pigeon poo, and I thought, I can't ask anyone else to do that. I'm going to go and shovel
the pigeon poo.
And then when everyone said to me, I don't want to do that, I said, I've done it. It's your turn, mate. So I think there is, you've got to very much walk the talk, and you've got to put yourself in their shoes. You have to really think what's driving them, what motivates them, because it doesn't matter what motivates you, it's important is what motivates them.
So it's like leading from the front, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Can I just ask, do you ever feel the need to though prove yourself? Because I've had this personal experience with female managers where I felt like because they were a female, especially in a male-dominated environment, they felt that they needed to be tougher than maybe a male manager would have been, and to kind of be harder on women or harder. Do you ever feel that you kind of need to prove yourself?
Actually, yeah, I do feel the need to prove myself. Got 3 older brothers. They all thought I was a stupid girl. I proved them wrong. But I think within the business community, no, I've been quite happy being a woman in business. So it's never been an issue for me, actually.
I'm sure there's been so many women from different industries who have actually won this Venus Award. What has been the most unusual winners?
Oh, well, we've had an inventor of a potty. Wow. And she's gone on, my Carrie Potty, she's gone on to win awards across the world. We've had an author who has had her book, Benedict's Brother, turned into a movie.
Oh.
I think they're talking, I better not say. Not say who they're talking
Don't
for the
give away
lead.
the secret.
No, I could be in trouble. We've just had all sorts. We've had a detective, a plumber, all sorts.
Wow.
Yes. So it's
very interesting.
A plumber is a woman.
Sorry?
A plumber.
A female plumber.
Yeah, fantastic.
Good for her. We was indeed, and why not?
Yeah.
If that's why not indeed?
And why do you think it's important for women to get this kind of rewards?
I think it's important for the women. I just think, 3 older brothers used to tell me I was stupid. I believed it. You couldn't get more bottom in the class than I was. 120 kids, I was at the bottom of the bottom with Victor Bullock. Oh, don't tell him. Oops.
Wow.
And there was just something that clicked that I decided, you know what, I can do this if I put my mind to it. But I think sometimes we just need, girl, you're doing a good job, carry on.
Yeah, definitely.
Encouragement.
Yes.
Yeah, a bit of encouragement.
Doesn't do any harm.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
Tara, what do you think are the main obstacles that face women in business?
Themselves.
Okay. Can we elaborate a bit?
I just think it's our own opinion of ourselves which has been put on us since we were a kid. There's this statistic that, and I don't quote me on it, but girls at the age of 7 asked if they thought they could be Prime Minister. The same percentage said yes, not Prime Minister, President, said yes as men did. At a teenage, a lot less girls thought they could be President. And I think it's not... It's upbringing. I mean, in my own home, I have it. My son, I have 3 sons, funnily enough. My son does something, my husband says, don't be such a girl.
Oh.
In my own home. That was a girly throw. And I just, I just think that it's that whole programming thing.
Changing that mindset.
Yeah, it is. And I think it is changing. I think the girls coming up are thinking, I'm not taking this nonsense anymore.
Definitely.
I am as good as you. In fact, I am better. And I think there are many ways that we are better than men, and there are many ways that they are better than us.
Yeah.
And I think that there are many countries where, as women, we're not acknowledged. We're not even considered anything more than a piece of dirt. And I think it's our responsibility as women to help those women. Our mothers and the mothers before us and our sisters before them, they have all helped us get to where we are today. And let's face it, we're in a good place, ladies, really, aren't we? Yeah. Yes, there's a place to go, but we're in a good place. We can be Prime Minister if we want to. We have. But there are these countries where actually, you've got no choice. You stick up with that, you put up with that, or you just end it, and that's your choice, and that's no choice. So I think really, I would love the awards, the essence of the awards one day, to go to a different country and help women that need that support, whether it's through mentoring, whether it's through upskilling, microfinancing, giving them somewhere to go when they've got nowhere else.
Wonderful, it is very inspiring.
I mean, what would you say is the award's greatest success story?
I don't think there is one. I think it's a cumulative thing. I think it's all the successes. I've had, when you have one person coming up to you and say, this has changed my life. Something like this has changed somebody's life. It is, it's like my raison d'etre. This is what I came in the world to do, and I've changed somebody's life. And then you get somebody else and somebody else. It's just amazing. And I'm just, as you can tell, I'm into this thing.
Yes, you're very passionate, which we love.
We love that. Women, we have a sense of purpose.
Indeed.
Yes.
Oh, definitely.
Wonderful.
Well, I'd like to ask you, in your own opinion, do you think that starting a business is a good risk to take when you have a family?
I think it's a fantastic thing for a woman to do when you have a family, because it's hard to work for someone else when you have a family. It is hard. We've been talking about, there's all this thing about equality of pay, and I could go on forever about that sort of thing. But actually, when you work for yourself, if you want the afternoon off because it's sports day, well, guess what? You figure it out, don't you?
I love that.
But actually, when you work for someone else, it's like, oh, it's sports day, can I have the afternoon off? And oh, it's the other one's sports day, and oh, there's somebody that's sick. Whereas actually, when it's yourself, you make up for it some other way. You work late. You don't have to kowtow to someone else that says, well, that's not good enough, or you feel it inside, even if they are flexible. So yeah, I think it's great to work for yourself.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, well, I would like to ask you on a personal level with your business. Were there ever any times that you faced that you thought, oh, this is too difficult, I want to give up? And if so, what drove you to keep going?
Often. Often I think, am I good enough? Is it, am I biting off more than I can chew here? I'm reaching for the stars in the hope of reaching the moon, but am I really going to get there? And I think what gets you going is just sleeping on it. That's one thing. And also, I'm a woman with a mission. So as long as you found your it or your mission and you've got your goals, then you can always revert back to them and find out why am I doing this? This is why I'm doing this. There's a right reason for this. And you can continue on.
I also wanted to ask, Because you mentioned how your brothers always said that you were stupid and, how did you overcome those? Because I'm sure it must have given you some insecurities, some complexes. How did you manage to overcome that?
I've still got them. They're still there. You just have to fight them. That's programming from when you're a little kid. I guess what happened was at school, when my father said, it doesn't matter, she's a girl, doesn't matter, she doesn't do well. And I was like, whew, that's good. I can have fun, I can do nothing, I can slack. But actually, the day I left school, I thought, damn it, I'm on my own now. If I don't do something, now I did a secretarial course, because that's all I thought I was good enough for. Split up with a boyfriend, travelled the world, decided that there was a gap in the market, thought, I could try and do a business here, did a business course, and then that sort of gave me some confidence and just other things like that. And I realised that actually whatever you want to do, you can do. And that's when I became a pilot. And
wow,
that's amazing. Yeah.
Fantastic.
You can do whatever you want, ladies.
Yeah,
you know that. You know that already.
We know that. What would be your last word to, someone out there? They may not have the self-esteem, they may have they may be low self-esteem, not encouraged, not motivated. Where do they start?
You are a 10. You were born a 10 and you will die a 10. The only thing that stopped you being a 10 is other people. Forget the other people and remember that you are a 10.
Fantastic. I love that. I take that for myself.
Love that. Me too.
I'm definitely. Thank you so much, Tara. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
And you've got a great vision, and we do hope that you manage to see it all the way through.
Oh, I will.
Oh, good for
sure you will.
Good for you.
Okay, we're going to go for a short break now, but stick with us because we'll be delving deeper into the issue of equal pay.
Welcome to your health centre, conveniently located right here in the heart of Finsbury Park. Open 7 days a week with 4 services daily, there's surely something for everyone. No matter what time of day, there will always be a spiritual advisor on hand, ready to speak to you. Call our 24-hour helpline, your place to open up any time of the day. No problem is too complex, so don't be dismayed. In fact, we have daily sessions that can tackle issues related to every area of your life, from the inside out. If you're looking for uplifting advice, a listening ear, or maybe just a prayer to put your mind at ease, then feel free to come in. We also offer free childcare facilities during all of our meetings. We'll take care of them as if they were our very own. Or, for teens and youths, express your talents right here in our youth group, proudly one of the biggest youth groups in the UK. If you need our support, you will find it. From the training centre to support groups for single parents and the abused, free, confidential help is at hand. There's no appointment necessary, so you're welcome. And what's more, all the services we offer are all completely free. The advisors will give you practical, non-judgmental advice that will take the weight off your shoulders. Also, if you're looking for special gifts or an inspirational read, then why not visit our bookshops? We have a comprehensive range of thought-provoking literature at great prices. We work hard to provide for all of your needs from the inside out. Helping people is what drives us, so you're welcome.
Welcome back, and on today's show, we are discussing why women are cheaper than men. Do you think that's a fair statement?
No, it's not. We're not cheaper than men. We shouldn't be cheaper than men.
Well, let me read some facts on why I have said that, okay? Women working full-time still earn almost £5,000 a year less than men, though the pay gap in some jobs is 3 times bigger. According to research, female health professionals have the biggest pay gap at 31%, which works out at £16,000 a year. A key reason for the size of the pay gap in health is the earnings of the best paid professionals. Top male professionals in health earn nearly £50 an hour, twice as much as top earning women who earn $24.67 an hour. Can you believe that? Women working in culture, media and sport experience the next biggest pay gap at 27.5%, which works out at £10,000 a year, while women working in manufacturing occupations earn nearly 24% less than men. Why do you think this is, ladies?
Oh, I can't say why, but I know it's
think this is?
unacceptable. I'd like to hear why Kim thinks why.
Okay, first of all, when I was listening to your facts, I was just trying to work out how they were basing their averages. Were they like taking people in the same job or health professionals in general? Because it could be a case of some of the top jobs are men and some of the lower paid jobs are women. Are there more women at the bottom than they are at the top? I'm not sure how they worked it out.
I believe it was people in the same job.
Yeah, in the exact same job,
Yeah.
earning, and the woman is earning less.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why is that?
Why?
I have two reasons why I think
Unacceptable.
that could be the case. Now, if it's just blatantly two people doing exactly the same job, doing exactly the same hours, then that's wrong. But there's certain considerations that need to be taken in, that need to be thought about. For example, if in that job, the woman has taken time off to, let's say, have children, and the man, well, obviously, you know, with a lot of jobs, that's not the case with the man. So if, let's say, the woman's taken like 2 years off, and it's a job as a doctor. So for those 2 years that she's been off, for example, taking care of children, medical profession has advanced, and people have improved, and there's lots of research and training that perhaps the doctor who didn't take the two years off has been going on. So should it be the case that if you take 2 years off, that you think you should be in the same position as somebody who hasn't? I think for those reasons, I don't think it's fair, because I think the person who stayed in the job without having time off to have children has had that time of developing more in that job, getting more experience, being on more training. So for that reason, I don't think they should really be paid the same. And sometimes I think that's a case of women wanting to have it all without being reasonable. So I think for those situations, I would say, well, no. I think it's all to do with experience and the amount of time you put into the job. And sometimes women don't have that time to put into the job because of their other experiences. So for that reason, I would say, no, they shouldn't be paid the same.
Well, I will come strictly, completely against that, because I just think that if two people, a man and a woman, work exactly the same job, the woman is putting in just as much. I'm not looking at it, oh, they've taken time off for babies or anything like that. Let's weigh up the fact that these two women, this man, this woman, they do exactly the same job. The woman does exactly this, puts in as much work, she works just as hard, but she earns far more less than the man. I find that absolutely unfair, unacceptable. I remember there was a saying that a woman, to get the same wage as a man, a man who works till 65, she would actually need to work until she's 80 to be able to earn the same as a man. You know,
Yeah,
for me,
crazy.
I find that it's really unfair. I think it's really unfair and unacceptable.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you made a good point though, Kim. I think that was a very valid point. But, you know, one could argue that whilst that woman's off, she could still be, you know, advancing in the medicine, keeping up to date with all the new advances. And when she comes back to work, she's more than ready to do her job and knows just as much as the man. Does that mean that she should really have half of what he's earning?
I shouldn't think she should have half, but I think that's going to reflect, because there's no way you can tell me that somebody who's at home, being a homemaker, let's say it is looking after a child. It might not be. It might be for medical reasons. I don't know. Even if the person is off for medical reasons, you cannot say that person who is off for, let's say, 2 years is getting the same amount of practical experience and time and working with patients as somebody who is in a job all the time. But what I do think is wrong is if two people are doing exactly the same job without taking
any breaks,
doing exactly the same. Now that's wrong. But if on average, what happens is that is the case sometimes with women. I know sometimes men take time off to look after children, but with women, it tends to be the case. And I think that's sometimes what's reflected in the pay gap. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I don't know the facts, but we're talking about the medical profession. And there's other professions you can look at.
Yeah.
For example, if you look at reporters and people in the news profession, for example, like we're coming up to elections now, isn't it? So there's going to be reporters who are going to be working hard, meeting with all the MPs and doing all this kind of investigative work, and their portfolio of contacts is going to be much better than somebody who's been off for about a year to 6 months, and because that job is an evolving job. And I think when you look at things like that, that's the reason why sometimes pay reflects the person's experience and the time they put in the job. I think you cannot blanket say that if you're doing a job and I'm doing a job, we both deserve the same pay. No, I think, and I think to make it fair, these things need to be taken into consideration when they work out people's pays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be addressed. And I was reading something from Anne Franke. She's like a chief executive officer in the Chartered Management Institute. And I agree with her because she was speaking about transparency and the two targets. Those are the two things that she said should be worked on, and I totally agree with her, because she's basically saying that, you know, regarding to men and women's salary, they should be focusing on publicizing it so that, you know, women can actually see exactly what you're going to earn. You know, and
so when you say publicising it, so that women should see what men are earning in comparison to what they're earning.
Yeah, I think and I agree with her with that, very much so. And the targets in terms of, you know, they should be making a target of a plan or a way of changing the situation that it can be more equal. So I really, really stand strong against it being unacceptable.
Okay. Well, I would just actually like to ask a quick question, because on the whole topic of taking leave, etc., why do you think that there is a term working mum and not working dad?
Working mum, because I think right, working mum. Of course, mothers stay home and look after their children far more than fathers. So I think where with fathers, they tend to they're not going to put working dads, because normally it's the mother that stays home and looks after the children. So I think when a woman makes a decision that, okay, I'm not going to be at home with kids, I'm actually going to go and work, I think that's where the terms comes from. I'm a mummy, but I'm working. I think it's that. And I think men have always, I mean, now men are actually, they have got fathers who are staying home with their families and children, raising their children and choosing to do that. But it's very rare.
So you would say would you say a woman's primary role then would be to be at home looking after the children? If she's got children, should that be more of a priority than going out to work?
I wouldn't say, I think women have a responsibility as a mother. I think so, myself. I mean, I was a type of person relating to myself. I had children. I went out, I had my children, and I spent a period early, and I went out at an early stage. I think within the first 4 months, I was going out there to work. So I think that it's important for mothers to have their role as a mother. I do believe that. And I will never wrong a mother that wants to stay home with their children. Absolutely not. I think it's wonderful. If a woman decides to bring up their child, stay at home, I think good for her. But if a mother wants to go out, I don't think the child is going to get less cared for if the mother doesn't stay all the way.
Okay, that's some very valid points there. Well, ladies, unfortunately, we're coming to the end of our show, but before we come to the end, I would like to hear from you. Do you have anything else that you'd like to address the viewers with? Pat, I'd like to hear from you.
Well, I was going to make a comment on what she said.
Yeah, feel free.
I agree with what she said with regards to working moms and working dads. And I think that is the whole point why women are paid less nowadays. Because I think companies don't want to take the risk. Because you hire a woman, men don't give birth, women give birth. And even if they're not expecting to get pregnant anytime soon, they are still at risk of that happening. And then the time they have to stay away on maternity leave, can the company really afford to be paying someone for 12 months to stay home and then also pay someone to cover for that person? So I think that's, with a man, they don't have this problem because, men are always going to be there and they're not at the same risk of women. So I think it's the reason why women are still being paid less nowadays. But if they can afford to stay home and look after their kids, then I think it should be
wonderful.
I wouldn't say their primary job as a woman, but if they are giving birth, they are becoming mothers now, I think their children now become a priority over work. I agree.
Good points. Anything you want to add, Kim?
To that point?
Just anything to round off the show.
I think the message that I would like to get across at the end of the day, I think people have to do what's right for them. And I think at different stages in our life, different things are important. Because I think if I look at myself, when I was possibly in my 20s, I think career, that was very much important to me. And it was like getting to the top of the tree and doing education and, trying to advance in myself as much as possible. And I kind of think that's a good thing because I was able to launch myself in my 20s. I think I didn't have my children until I was in my 30s. And I think that kind of changed my life for me. I didn't want the career-driven life anymore. I wanted more of the balance. And I think when women come to that stage, I think it's okay to switch from the career-driven woman to that woman who possibly wants to spend time with family and children and have their life like that. And I think you're also going to come to a stage, and I think sometimes us women, we have to come to reality that we can change certain things in the world, but we can't change the whole world. And I think you have to come to a stage where, yes, get to the best possible place you can be with your career, and then you have to make that decision, am I going to fight my way to the top and stay at the top, or am I going to have a life where I think I'm more balanced with my children and my family? And I think there's nothing wrong with having and wanting that balance. But I think when it comes to your wages, stand up for your money.
Love it.
Don't let anyone put their hand in your pocket.
Love it. Don't let anybody put their hands on your pocket. Nice ending point. Well, I think it's very important, definitely, to fight for what you believe is right. It's thanks to the suffragettes that we now are able to vote, right, ladies?
Exactly.
So that's very important. But at the same time, we do live in a world that is based a lot on competition and comparisons. And although a little competition can be healthy, it's really important not to let it get the better of you and to take away from you what is actually your individual definition of contentment. It's really important to find what happiness is for you. What is your definition of quality of life? Everybody's is different. For some women, it may be the many pounds in the bank account at the end of the month. And for some others, it might be less pounds, but the ability to be flexible, to have that flexible working, to have that family time, to have that work-life balance. So it's important that you fight for what you truly believe is right for you. Indeed, you can't fight just for the sake of fighting or just because your neighbour may have a bit more than you do. Comparisons, there's no point in that. You've got to find your own definition of success. This has been DKW and it's been a pleasure. We've really enjoyed it. And if you would like to comment or if you'd like any advice, please email us at help@dkw.me or comments@dkw.me. We'll see you next time.